7 years into the new millennium, the most powerful nation on earth wrestles with its problems. Nearly 300 million Americans tax an aging infrastructure. 250 million vehicles of every description elbow for space on our highways. Environmental concerns of the 1990s have become 21st century priorities. And yet, incredibly, reliance on the automobile throughout most of North America not only continues, it accelerates, except where logic prevailed. On the Florida Peninsula, the Florida Overland Express sprints along the eastern edge of a rejuvenated Everglades. The Fox, the nation's first high-speed rail system. Barely 30 minutes out of its modern passenger terminal within the Miami Airport complex, the Fox will arrive in Orlando an hour from now. Less than 60 minutes from its Orlando departure, the Fox will breathe the still morning air of Tampa. Among the 300 passengers, business travelers, families, students, and tourists, some are just along for the ride. For them, the Florida Overland Express is the destination. The history of Florida's high-speed rail system has been well documented. Before the turn of the century, in the 1990s, the Florida Department of Transportation presented an innovative plan to make the system a reality. The idea was to create a long-term partnership with the private sector to establish an easily expandable, practical, maintainable, appreciating asset, a safe, comfortable system to immediately connect Miami, Orlando, and Tampa, and soon after, Jacksonville. Eventually, other business, tourism, and population centers would be included. It was to be an efficient system, publicly owned, privately built, and operated. The private sector partner was chosen. It was the Florida Overland Express Group, a consortium comprised of 4 of the most respected names in transportation, construction, program management, and infrastructure. There was Fluor Daniel, the largest publicly traded engineering and construction company in the United States, with unquestioned worldwide management and maintenance capabilities. They were responsible for Miami's Metromover and more than 290 other significant projects throughout the state of Florida. There was Odebrecht Contractors of Florida, civil construction experts in 21 countries on 4 continents, responsible for the expansion of Dade County's mammoth Golden Glades interchange, one of the largest and most complex interchanges in the world. There was Bombardier, a world-class manufacturer of transportation equipment and the largest provider of rail cars in North America. It was Bombardier that manufactured and supplied rail cars for the newly expanded Tri-Rail and the Tampa Airport People Mover. And there was Jacques Alstom, an internationally acknowledged leader in the field of energy and rail transport, developer of proven TGV train technology, utilized in creating the fastest, safest passenger trains in the world. That was the team in 1995. It is still the team in 2007. And just look at what the Florida Overland Express Group has created and maintained.
Dad, the shuttle's here!
Things are different in the year 2007. There's a greater awareness of how costly it is to maintain a highway system. We still drive cars, of course. We drive them less. Intermodal connections, like the Fox's own door-to-door shuttle service, have made the automobile just another travel option. Other passengers arrive in clean, modern train stations via newly expanded bus and light rail systems.
How's Dylan?
Great, he says hello. So listen, as soon as we get on the train, we're going to fire off some faxes, and then we'll have some breakfast.
How about breakfast first? I fax better on a full stomach.
Okay, we'll make the dining car our first stop.
Oh, let's go.
Great.
Almost there, guys. All right, here we go. Almost on the thing. All right, let's get going. Woo!
Bags are checked curbside and are automatically routed with you to your final destination.
Thanks. We're
And
looking
that's
forward to it.
particularly convenient if you're making an airline connection.
Orlando, sir. Yep, that's right. Orlando. Check it straight through for you. Thank you.
Wow. Awesome. Is Grandpa going to be on the train?
No, honey, but he's waiting for us in Orlando.
Is he going to take me fishing?
I think he just might do that.
Now arriving on track 1, the Florida Overland Express from Tampa and Orlando. Arribando en el carril número 1, el Florida Overland Express de Tampa y Orlando.
Yeah, business tonight.
You know, I don't know a soul in Miami. I just like to ride this thing.
Hey man, don't even worry about it until we're north of West Palm Beach.
Wait a minute. That means that I have less than an hour to try to figure out how to tell my parents about those grades?
Well, if you had a 4.0 like me, you'd have nothing to worry about.
That's right. Get out of here. Nobody invited you.
Passengers for Orlando and Tampa, please prepare for boarding on track
Mom, the train's here. Come on.
Come on, guys.
分かったから行こう。
切符買うのにどこまで行ったの？
あ、一番近いATM まで。
やるのがすごい。
Let's get going. Yeah, in a little while we're going to get a train's eye view of the Everglades. Come on, sweetie, let's go this way. Let's go, all right.
Watch out for the alligator.
Oh, I think the alligators better watch out for you. And come on over here and sit on this side. Where are you? Get over here now.
Honey, why don't you color in right over there?
That looks great.
Wow, I got 1,500 points.
All right, good boy.
Done.
Is Mickey on the train?
No, honey, but he's waiting for us in Orlando.
Mike, don't wander too far, okay?
Okay, Dad. Excuse me.
But I think I can figure this out.
Hi, I'm Mike. What are you doing?
Hi, Mike. It's a little hard to explain.
Looks like a computer modem to me.
Think you're pretty smart, little man, huh?
Looks like you're trying to download a GIF file from the server through an high-speed fiber optic link.
Like I said, I'm downloading this GIF file.
In the past 12 months alone, more than 5 million passengers have enjoyed the speed, convenience, comfort, and safety of the Florida Overland Express. Electric power moves the Florida Overland Express quickly and efficiently along its new state-of-the-art network of tracks. Train and track noise is kept to a minimum. There is no 24-hour highway roar, just the occasional whoosh as the train glides by. The right-of-way uses just a fraction of the land required for new highways. Special pass-throughs have been created for wildlife, while unobtrusive fencing keeps them safe from passing trains. And how does this new system affect the roads that cross its path? Actually, not at all. There are no automobile crossings anywhere along the train's route. Roads over or under the tracks keep automobile traffic moving smoothly, and raised tracks allow for undisturbed boat traffic along Florida's waterways.
Hi, I'm Mike. Are you someone's grandma and grandpa?
Yes, we are. And there are 6 other someones waiting for us in Orlando.
My grandpa's waiting for me at the station.
But while the Fox prides itself on its quiet presence, its impact on Florida's economy has been anything but. Construction of the system in the late 1990s and the first few years of the 21st century created thousands of new jobs for Floridians. When the system started running, additional jobs were created. on the trains, in the stations, and in the construction of intermodal transportation systems that link the Florida Overland Express to airports, seaports, and most important, to the homes and businesses of Floridians everywhere.
これ上に上げてくれる？
はい。
ありがとう。
Hi. Is this your first time on a train?
ごめんね、私英語喋らないから。
Yeah. It's my first time
あ
too.
りがとうございましたと思うけど。
Hi.
And then there are the tourists. Not only has a high-speed rail system enabled more tourists than ever to see more of Florida, it has become a tourist attraction in itself. Florida's high-speed rail system had been built without negative impact on the state's sensitive environment. That in itself would have been an accomplishment, but its positive impact has been undeniable. As an attractive alternative to auto travel, the system has helped improve Florida's air quality and lessen the need for highway construction. A new levee was built along the edge of the Everglades to help the Water Management District fulfill its mandate to protect the fragile environment. The levee was able to accommodate the tracks, and the benefits continue to grow. Water management groups were able to maintain freshwater within the delicate ecosystem and keep saltwater from leaching into the glades. The levee also slowed the encroachment of runaway development and served as the perfect platform for the longest new bike path in North America, the Eastern Everglades Bikeway, nearly 60 miles long from Miami to West Palm Beach. The arrival of the Fox created even greater awareness of the Everglades by exposing its grandeur to millions of awestruck passengers. Suddenly, the Glades were everyone's concern. The Fox was a perfect match for the environment. Clean, swift, and remarkably quiet.
Do you know why this train is so quiet?
I don't know. Do you know? Yeah, sure. It's because
It's the continuous welded rail.
Tickets, please.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Here you go.
10 years ago, a high-speed rail system for the state of Florida was just a dream. In other parts of the world, the system was a reality. France had one, England and Belgium had one, and Korea's was already underway. Germany had one, and so did Japan. Spain, Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands were also reaping the many benefits of high-speed trains. Today, Florida alone among the 50 states enjoys the Florida Overland Express. And you have every right to ask, who paid for this transportation miracle? Who made the investment of billions of dollars in Florida's future? It was a unique partnership of private and public investors. The Florida Department of Transportation treated the proposed high-speed rail system much like a highway project, except that private investors would bear much of the financial responsibility. Private sector expertise brought FDOT's vision to life by designing, financing, building, and continuing to operate the Florida Overland Express. Even though the infrastructure they built, this continually appreciating asset, is owned by the state of Florida. And the state's part of the partnership? Initially, Florida reallocated just a small portion of its annual transportation budget. Dollars derived from existing gasoline taxes and other transportation revenues. Dollars that were already earmarked for Florida transportation. By any standard, this was a sound public investment. The expertise and financial stability of the Fox Consortium members brought our high-speed railroad up to speed. The Florida Overland Express has been a financial success for the state and the residents of Florida. It has generated steadily increasing revenues and has provided a consistent flow of income to the state. By making an investment in the least intrusive form of modern transportation, Florida found the way to keep the state an attractive environment for its residents and for economic growth. And now, in the year 2007, while the rest of North America examines the success of the Florida Overland Express, the fouling of our air and increasing demands on our highway system continue. Except in Florida, where logic prevailed.
live. There we go, right on time. Right on time. There we go, guys. We're getting better at this. How's it going, everyone? It is your host, conductor, and founder of this wild ride, Demetrius Phillip. Welcome aboard. We're getting to the dog days of summer here. It is August. And it's one minute you blink and it's January 2025. Next, it's August of 2025. Don't worry, we'll be blinking plenty enough here because, as it seems, we're cursed and we can't find a way to build things over here. And we'll be talking about that. But first, I hope everybody is doing well. Yes, we are streaming on a Saturday as we usually have traditionally done. What's going on with the stream days? What's going on? Well, guys, we're going to try to do sort of a back and forth for the, as they say, the work-life balance as it is. Especially with, as everything is going now. I mean, I'm not somebody living alone in a basement anymore. Technically, it wasn't a basement, but you know what it is. And you have responsibilities and all that sort of stuff. But we want to do the Saturday live streams, and we'll go back and forth between Saturday and Tuesday. Seems to be the days, but we'll keep everything on track with that. But we'll see. How's it going, everybody? Here we go. We have David Jackson, A2R Gaming. Ricardo Noel in the chat. We have Minor Tree Dump Trucker, Star Force 97, with a couple of more speakers coming in later in the night. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody's having a good time and a good end of the summer. I cannot wait till the winter. I cannot wait till the cold. We'll get there. There we go. The chat is on. There we go. All right. And no offense to anybody that lives in a basement. I think the people who've been living on a basement have been beat enough. Talking about a certain spat between two different political speakers, which is good. You know what? This is good. This is exactly what I voted for. It is time to end the current paradigm of politics. And this is, of all the bad news we're going to go through here, I wouldn't say it's bad news. Okay, and here's my cope. Here's my cope. And I've been talking about this for years. We're finally getting some voices out there. Things are changing. Mainly because the generations are starting to change of who's in power. And you're going to start to see things now quickly come to a head as we start to go more and more into we're halfway through the 2020s. Who would have known? Think about it. We're August 2025. In about 4 or 5 months, it will be 2026. I mean, think about it. You blinked and it was 2020, and now we're almost at the end of 2025. So we're going to start to see things change. But first of all, let's circle back a bit. I know I hate the term circle back, but hey, there we go. But we are talking a little bit of what we talked about last stream, which we focused on mainly was this absolutely abysmal merger between Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern, which is on its way to going on. And I told you we were going to keep keeping on this. We're going to keep looking at what's going on and any of these sorts of updates that happen in between now and whenever this is going to happen. It's going to take a while. It's going to take until next year in 2027 because, again, it has to go over to the Surface Transportation Board. It has to be, you have to have all of the hearings in Congress, blah, 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 blah. It has to get approved. So, yeah, all this bureaucratic red tape. Sometimes it does work in our favor to slow down the tide of some very terrible, terrible things. And this is something that we can get involved with, frankly speaking, because it seems that everybody thinks this is absolutely terrible, which we all agree with. We are not the only ones to say that this is a bad idea. We all agree that this is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad idea. If the rail merger goes full steam ahead, we're at risk. A merger between Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern would be a huge concentration of market power, limiting competition. Gee, who could have noticed that would have happened? Okay, and we talked about this before. Several unions, several councils, several organizations have come out against this, including the American the Rail Passengers Association. We have the American Chemistry Council saying the same thing. This proposed merger is a bad deal for American manufacturers, especially for chemical producers, including that chemical producers have been burned already by Norfolk Southern, pun intended, over what happened over in East Palestine. Again, it wasn't the chemical producers' fault of the explosion that happened. Everybody knows what happens with vinyl chloride if you do that, but Norfolk Southern asked to pull it anyway. They asked to just go ahead and blow it up. And then they blamed, it's the chemical manufacturers. They make something that's flammable and blows up, so it's on them. We have to sue them for it. Or it's the manufacturer of the cars, the storage cars where they go into. Again, we're having two of probably some of the worst companies that do some of the absolutely most vicious, terrible, horrible, no good practices, as the precision scheduled railroading, which is one of the worst things to come out of the freight railroads in the last several years. And again, this is the whole reason why things are going the way it is. It's upside down. You have these massive giant companies that don't allow for competition, that don't allow for state companies that just operate within states or within smaller areas or anything to come up. They'll go ahead and put all these, they'll pull the ladder, as we talked about last week. They'll go ahead and pull the ladder that if you, for example, some reason wanted to go ahead and started a company of your own, well, apart from the massive amounts of capital that you would need, forget even if you had all the massive amounts of capital. Let's say you had $1 billion lying around. Guess what? You have to go through all these loopholes to go ahead and get everything certified, get everything done. By the time you build anything, it will take 1 billion years. Not literally, but it will take, let's put it this way. It's going to take 5 years before anything actually materializes. We know you can build it sooner. We know it can be built immediately. We've seen China go ahead and build an entire national network of high-speed rail within basically 10 years, within a presidential administration, by the way. We've seen this happen. You saw one leader promise, basically at more or less the same time. Barack Obama and President Xi Jinping came to power at more or less the same time. And what happened after that? What happened after that? One promise, we will get high-speed rail to connect 80% of the community across the United States. That's right. Yeah. Well, we will talk about that. We'll get there. But at this point, at least now, people are starting to understand, look, we're giving power to the wrong people, and it is accounting for nothing. We're not getting any true business. So the libertarians have been completely PTFO'd after all of this. And I know because I was a former libertarian many odd years ago. But after seeing basically what Brightline had to go through, and we'll talk a little bit about what Brightline is going through a little bit of now. After what Brightline had to go through, and then seeing what actually got built in Japan, you have to come to your senses and come to some logical, pragmatic solution and say, hey, it's not going to happen because the people who are running the market don't want that to happen. Okay? At least things are starting to change. And look, we'll talk about this as well, even in the local area. And I said, you have to get more. It's going to be hard to really get this. And I know I'm going back and forth over this, but this is all connected in the same rail line. Crappy pun, but intended pun. But the whole point of this is that we at least are starting to get some sort of power. We're really starting to see something happen. Okay, like for example, all these bad, giant businesses that are basically running this country, like parasitic. Yeah, you do need businesses. You do need capital, but when capital is being used to beat the ever living crap out of the middle class and people, it's not good. It's being used as a weapon against the people rather than a tool, and that's a problem. Okay, and we're back and forth between basically when you're talking about capitalism and communism. Okay, the problem with both of them is that they're using capital as weapons rather than what we should be doing in this country and using that as a tool to lift up the middle class as we used to before. And I've been doing a whole bunch of reading of how this country used to be run before. America 1908. This is a good, fun book to read and just to get a vision of what the American spirit was back then at the turn of the century, especially in this very pivotal part of the 1900s and the Gilded Age. Good book. Some other reading I've been doing. Geography of Nowhere is also a very good one. That's another one I also do recommend. And I just got this in the mail. Give the city back to give the city back to the people. This is a small read. I read this book before back in college, but it's like it's time to start getting like some books over here. Get a little bit more back into the academic sense of it, but not be too academic, right? So the Freight Rail Customer Alliance. apart with another trade group representing 3,500 chemical manufacturing, agricultural, energy companies, warned that past history shows that a proposed merger of Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern will push up shipping costs without improving services. As we talked about, look, long story short, they promised the moon and then crap. That's basically all what these big giant mergers do. They promise everything, synchronicity, and all this other BS that doesn't come to mind. They make up more or less the numbers, and they give all this long entire explanation of what it is, which is basically next. It doesn't mean anything. It's gobbledygook. The only reason they're doing it is because they're running out of steam both ways, and the only way they can keep the monster going is to make the monster bigger. That's it. That's all it is. The Freight Rail Customer Alliance has long been opposed to continued consolidation in the rail industry based on past experiences. It just seems to happen every so often. Every time they do this, it never ends up the same way. Yeah. Oh, have you read Ricardo Noel? Have you read Last Train to Paradise by Les Standiford? Yes, absolutely. In fact, it is somewhere in that little library. I know my library was a heck of a lot bigger. Most of those books are still in storage after moving all over the state of Indiana, but it's somewhere there. That is a very good book, too. Very good book. Definitely recommend it. And that was probably the book that prompted Wes Anderson to really go ahead and start building Brightline. So, look, there are some good boomers, but they're very few and far in between. And again, the ones that do have capital, they can be able to do it, but, they're, again, very few and far in between and very much outnumbered in that sort of sense. So it is still very much a generational one. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't have to be that way. But, the only reason that we're starting to see change now, in terms of now finally people starting to give up on the two-party system and the way that democracy is run in this country, finally. We're doing the same thing and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. Yeah, this is the same thing when it comes to this rail merger. They're going to give us the same thing. They're telling us, it's going to be and then we're expecting different results when we know what the results are every single time this happens. Just basic pattern recognition. Basic pattern recognition will get you a long way, and not just in politics, but in life. Everybody's against this whole sort of thing. So this will be good. Once this starts heating up a little bit more, definitely start getting involved. You can be more involved in your local community and starting to. It's going to be mainly through the STB, but you can go ahead, tweet them, all that sort of stuff, whatever. We'll talk a little bit about the Surface Transportation Board and a little bit over here, and not just the Surface Transportation Board, but the Department of Transportation in general. We'll be talking about that and what their priorities seem to be right now. But definitely a bad stuff. So let's get to the whole actual meat and potatoes of this actual stream. Why are we here? What is the American curse? What could that be? The Curse of America's High-Speed Rail by Vox, John Quillen Hill. It's they couldn't get Jacqueline, they couldn't get John, so they put it together at John Quillen. Okay. Look, I'm the last person to talk about first names, but all right. Other countries have reliable trains that travel as fast as 200 miles an hour. The United States, not so much. Let's get a little bit into this article over here. If you're traveling in America, there are plenty of ways to get to where you want to go. You know that, interstate highways, blah, 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 planes, but there's no high-speed rail. And we have this over in Europe and Asia. Again, the same thing we've been talking about. I'm not going to go kind of through this article because it's more or less the same thing that we've been talking about. But let's get to the actual parts of this over here. Again, yes, this starts with having a great rail system that we used to have in this country. Then the automobile comes in. Okay? Now, here we go. Who's getting high-speed rail right? China has built nearly 30,000 miles of high-speed rail just in the past couple of decades. In fact, a lot of it was built basically during the vast bulk of it during Obama's tenure. Again, one promised and one delivered. Now, the way that been delivered, yeah, sure. But that's the problem, is that this country used to be able to build things. Method of politics notwithstanding. And that's really the main thing that we're trying to get through, is that we don't build it. It comes to basically who's in power and we were stuck with the never-built ship crew in charge. That's who we call it. That's, again, the thumbnail of this, and we talked about this before. It doesn't matter how much money or half-penny taxes or whatever, or how many billions of dollars they keep talking about. It comes to the same thing. There's way too much bureaucracy and too much red tape in between this, to the point that it's basically baked into the system. It's part of the system that they don't want to build anything. They just want to keep things the same way as it is, keep this mediocre, just keep it going. Keep this mediocrity going because it's managed mediocrity and they make money from it. That's why. So yeah, Japan, of course, with their bullet trains, the Shinkansen, most of Western Europe connected by high-speed rail. Yeah, we can do that. And why not the United States? So here we go. We talked about this before. Back in the 1980s, Governor Jerry Brown, who also became governor again in California, talked about this. The 1990s, California had a plan in place. Well, they've had that since the 90s, and where are we now? Where are we now? Yes, cost estimates have more than doubled. It will ultimately triple. With Gavin Newsom, the current governor, succeeded Brown, he spoke about the fact that it was obviously not going to be possible anytime soon. Why? Why? And we went from Los Angeles to San Francisco to now Bakersfield and Merced. And look, no offense to anybody that lives in the Central Valley, but it's kind of a running joke that anytime you meet anybody from the Central Valley, they hate living in the Central Valley. It's like always a joke. It's like, yeah, I live in Bakersfield and I hate it. Yeah, I live in Fresno and it sucks. And it's like, it's a running joke in California, which, you know, it's terrible and it's sad, but it's like, okay, so why are we building high-speed rail in the Central Valley, which, you know, votes usually more red than blue most of the time? And we've talked about this, and we'll talk a little bit more about California high-speed rail because, again, it's a big story right now. And it's part of the reason why we're in this situation, and it encapsulates this, okay? It's sort of a story between two trains over here. A story between what happened with what is happening with California and what happened with Florida with Brightline, which is part of why I put that video out there before for the pre-stream video talking about the Florida Overland Express. Yes, it would have been absolutely cool and it should have been built. But again, we live in 21st century America. We're stuck being owned by these people, but these people are starting to finally go away at some point. You know, it's not the way, you know, it should be happening, but yeah, we're starting to see now some sort of break back between the system and some sort of change. So yeah, sometime in the 2030s, 2034 is when they're now trying to get between Bakersfield and Merced at a cost of $110 billion. $110 billion to build between Bakersfield and Merced. Meanwhile, Brightline built for $10 billion between Miami and Orlando. Where do people want to go? Bakersfield and Merced at 220 miles an hour, or Miami to Orlando at 125? Gee, I wonder what. I wonder where. And that's the other thing, is also, you know, just being pragmatic of how we built this. I know this, everybody keeps talking about Brightline is not fast enough. Yeah, we knew that from the beginning. But guess what? That's why people are talking about Brightline, because it's actually running and operating. And people are talking about it. Okay? And now they're running on the freight line, yes. Now, that helped. And we'll talk about what's going on between the freight line that they're running on and Brightline. But we also need to talk about, you know, they did it the pragmatic way. It's like, yeah, we can't go ahead and build 220 mile an hour, you know, separated right of way, all that sort of stuff and everything, and elevated rail. Yeah, we can't do that right now, but at least let's get something going. And then you'll have terrible articles coming out of saying, you know, well, the death train meat line is coming through. Yeah, well, we talked about that before. We don't have to talk about it anymore right now. California to Vegas is the plan for Brightline 2, Electric Boogaloo. So good, it has a sequel. It's not just that you have to have a private investor as opposed to government. It's also that you've been giving a route which presents itself to make economic sense. There you go. And makes sense for consumers. I hate that, you know, this term consumers should just be for Americans. As a consequence, that may actually happen. That might, in fact, be the first genuine high-speed rail in the United States. So there you go. And we're not going to talk about the safety record of Brightline, because that has nothing to do with the actual safety of the train. It has to do with, well, you have to deal with Florida Man. Okay? And that's not just me. That's everybody talking about the same sort of stuff. And, well, I'm not going to took that article now. I'll leave that for the next time. We can talk more about Brightline later. But Yeah, all the comments in the article were just saying, yeah, that has nothing to do with the trains. Even everybody looking at this sort of stuff knows it's stupid. They know it's stupid. So yeah, the whole thing of them trying to go ahead and kill Brightline, hit some sort of safety issue, hit this, hit that it's not making as much money as it was going to be, hit everything. Yeah, well, they're building more. So there you go. They're building more, and they're building between Vegas and the LA area. Yeah, it's not Los Angeles itself, it's Rancho Cucamonga, but guess what? Right from there, from the same station, you can go ahead and take the train over to LA Union Station and wherever else you want to go, because you have all the LA Metro system and the light rail and the everywhere. So there we go. We have something pragmatic. That's what we have to do. I know we just can't build whatever, whenever we should be able to, but at the current stage, at least for the next 5 years or so, until at least the 2030s, maybe the mid-2030s, we're not going to have the amount of power possible to go ahead and build something gigantic. Okay? And things are changing. Even John Quillen, is that her name? John Quillen? Okay. I'm just going to say Miss Hill. What Miss Hill here is saying, she's seeing the writing on the wall. The fact that we're having conversations about it, it's a possibility. The fact that we're having conversations around our inability to get big things done is actually not the same as conversations we were having 5 or 10 years ago. You see some signs of that change in California. For instance, the repeal of some of the environmental regulations that have been weaponized to prevent things like high-speed rail, which is silly. You think, yes, high-speed rail is by far more environmentally friendly than more automobiles. Absolutely. This thing should be absolutely green-lit and good to go. But no, we talked about that with all the environmentalists that were vehemently against California high-speed rail 10 years ago. And other things that actually are environmentally good. I'm not entirely pessimistic about this. High-speed rail is something that could connect large cities, and those cities could really use it, and that will serve many, many millions of Americans. There we go. That said, of consumers. Let's normalize Americans, not consumers. We're done of being consumers. We're done of being consumed. We need to fix this up. So yeah, again, we'll talk a little bit. Come on, I had this on. Whatever. Yeah, more or less the same thing. We're gonna skip that article. There we go. I'm out of free articles. Okay, I guess we're not talking about your article. There we go. LA Times. Yeah, the funny thing is, I was just reading through that. I'm like, okay, good, it works. And then move on. Whatever. Anyway, how generation of permitting requirements slows down California's transit project. Well, there you go. More or less the same thing. The permitting, the this, the that. Why can China go ahead and build basically an entire national network while America is still chugging along? Is because they have their priorities straight. We don't. We'll talk a little bit more about priorities. But yeah, a new report from a San Diego nonprofit examines how third-party permitting requirements affect timing of California's transit projects. Yeah. Again, it's not just high-speed rail, it's all sorts of transit projects. I mean, just even building roadways or whatever. We can't build darn diddly squat. We have our priorities all messed up. Billions of dollars goes to a foreign country to go ahead and commit you know what, because you can't say the word now on YouTube or wherever else, because you'll get banned and sent to jail in some states. But yeah, this is nuts. And then if these projects aren't taking so long, well, they're also being used as basically a money laundering scheme half the time of the people who are in there. And this was an audit from November of 2018 of the California High-Speed Rail Authority. I'm going to keep bringing this up because it's absolutely bonkers. How much money can get spent and how much time can be wasted? Well, how about $666 million? Yeah. Identify significant concerns with the authority's collection, evaluation, and deliverables for a $666 million RDP consulting contract. Of all the numbers, I'm not going to let that go. That is absolutely bonkers. I'm just going to keep hammering this. That's how much you could have built. I mean, with $666 million, that could have been basically a quarter of the way between LA and San Diego, which I will still keep saying, and I don't care how. This is part of what this article. You know what? I'm gonna Let's just fix that here. Let's fix this. I'm going to fix this because it's kind of pertinent to what we're talking about. But while that's going on, let's go to something else that I was talking about before, how we can fix this. Well, again, starting local, okay? Beat out these tremendously large businesses that are, the Googles, the Apples, the big giant corporations that are just completely just scamming us. Scamming us, taking advantage of you, and just taking everything for granted, okay? And finally, here's the thing. We can use NIMBYism of not in my backyard and use it against these large corporations. Like, for example, this is just two congruent newspapers within my local community here in Recordsville. Commissioner's next data center proposal. Finally, there we go. That's some good news. Where are we going to put this data center? Oh, yeah, right next to a family orchard that had been there that's still there for 100 years. They're going to build this giant data center that's going to take a whole bunch of water. It's going to bring in more cars. It's going to bring in more suburbs. And it's probably not going to even hire Americans. It's a data center. Come on. You know who it's going to hire at a data center. Okay? So finally, the council is getting smart. As people are now starting to get more involved in this, you're starting to see this happen. Yeah, there will not be a data center on a site considered for a planned unit development petition that was withdrawn earlier this year. Thank goodness. Gone. 775 acres, currently zoned agricultural property in Bug Creek Township, immediately east of Indianapolis and right next to popular family farm Tootle Orchards. Good. It's gone. There you go. That's how you can beat that one out. So that's one. And then another giant company that we all love to hate here, Walmart. we all love to hate them. Well, another thing that they keep doing, bringing giant trucks all over the place, giant distribution centers to keep building more Walmarts everywhere, to keep building more giant gridlock, more absolutely ridiculous, just more Walmarts. Okay, you know what you get from Walmart. We talked about this before, how it completely destroys community, how it destroys, this is what it starts with. Okay, that's what it goes into. It starts creating these absolutely terrible communities all over the place, basically to serve Walmart. Okay, it's like this absolutely terrible feudal lord, and you know what happens to bad feudal lords that don't have any sort of sense of noblesse oblige. That's another thing that we should be talking about here in this country. Is what do the rich and the powerful have, and what are their responsibilities to the community? Which is what you used to have back in the 1900s. There actually used to be this sort of stuff. That remember, as crazy as the rich people were back then. They still left a whole bunch of beautiful buildings. The Vanderbilts, Carnegie, everybody. They left beautiful things at least. These freaks like Zuckerberg or Bezos, they're not leaving, absolutely beautiful universities. They're not leaving concert halls. They're not leaving giant libraries or anything like that. No, they're just using money to go ahead and they'll make a foundation. They'll pretend to go ahead and save starving kids in Africa or that sort of stuff. And then when you really look at it, it's just a whole big money laundering scheme. That's what it is. So yeah, good. The council denies an abatement for Walmart. The Walton family, who just recently, during May, when they started doing all their No King's Day, remember that? Yeah, they were funding that. They were funding a whole bunch of dissidents and violence within the United States. Yeah. So these same companies that make billions of dollars, trillions of dollars off of you, weaponize against us, we the people. So yeah, good. Deny, no abatement for you, done. So that's what you can do. Get involved in your local council, get involved in your local community. Because I'm pretty sure and certain that once you start getting out there and you start saying, hey, you know what? These companies suck. They don't help us. They're just basically using, taking advantage of the people over here. Yeah, finally. There you go. Let's actually do the real thing over here. But yeah, people talking about conventional alternatives for California. This guy was saying between, let me see, construction between Bakersfield and Los Angeles. Yeah, it should have at least started in Los Angeles. At the very least. Whether it went from Los Angeles to San Diego, which I agree with, and 100%, I'm not going to back away from that. Or if it went from LA to Bakersfield. At least have it connected to LA. not Bakersfield to Merced, which was and that right there just kind of just lets me know it's like, yeah, they don't want to build it. They don't want to. So to end the whole California debate right now for what we're talking about over here, why we can't get built done. This was from somebody here in the general. Go ahead and again, join us on Discord if you want to go ahead and say it there. But yeah, this is from Jim Bones. Jim Bones shared this meme, what people in California were promised and what we got. That's basically, there you go. There's Union Pacific right there, the Lord of the trash. There you go. Lording over trash. All right, some good news. Let's start with some good news over here. Yes, we finally got some good news over here. Finally, Acella's coming. We finally got some news on Acela. Finally. A date for the Acela high-speed rail train that we've been waiting for almost 10 years at this rate. I remember back in 2017 when we were talking about this when this was first announced. Here we are. We're now in 2025. 2025, nearly 8 years later, and now they're finally will be here. Revenue service on August 28th. So, yep, mark your calendars because that's when. And now Brave died. The Brave browser died. There you are, guys. Check out my car. No, that's just my desktop. Oh well. But yeah, finally we get yes, restore the pages that you completely destroyed. Why? I put in great care to make sure that I had less than 25 tabs today. And you go ahead and you close out on me. Look, it's a lot less than 150. I don't know why you had to close out on me. Come on. 16 gigs of RAM and you can't even handle that. Oh well. Anyway, at some point we need to get a new setup over here. We've been using the same streaming setup, the same stuff for, well, talk about 10 years. We've been using this for 10 years. There we go. I got it. All right. So yeah, finally, Acela is finally coming out. The Valley of Liberty is finally debuting in service, and this doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. Yep, we're working now. Yep, 2028. Mark your calendars, guys. We're having a stream on August 28th. Finally. All right, let's keep going through this. Let's finish this off. Got a couple more articles left, and then we're gonna end this. Not end this, but we're going to go back into the stream and this chat and let people in. Hey, what's going on over here? Let me go back into my event here. Uh-oh, where am I? Where's Discord? Uh-oh. You guys still hear me on Discord? Bro got lost. Yeah. Cooked as okay. As the Zoomers say, apart from this country is being this country is cooked. Yeah. Look, hey, if you gotta eat, you gotta cook, right? So I don't know. We went from let him cook to now it's cooked. What's the connotation of that? Are we even talking about the same connotation at that point? But anyway, this. But speaking about letting bro cook, $12 billion high-speed rail project links Southern California to Las Vegas. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. So even in local news over in Las Vegas, they're now talking about it too. So yeah, once complete, Brightline West will be the first true high-speed rail line in the U.S. designed for intercity passenger travel, offering a faster, more sustainable alternative to highway congestion on I-15. Yes, that's what we need. However, and yes, people have been talking about Brightline. This is why I keep saying, look, this is it. We have the blueprint of what can work. And when most people talk about Brightline, it's in a positive light. Okay, they're not talking about the 180 plus people that have been killed by the train in 8 years. Okay, 180 people die in the roadways, basically in one day in the United States. No one's talking about shutting down the interstates or maybe thinking about, hey, maybe we shouldn't be building so many highways. Maybe we shouldn't be pushing our entire economy to be based on the automobile. Maybe we need to branch out and actually do things that make sense. So yeah, people are actually talking about this. But however, there is a dark cloud. I don't know how big this dark cloud is. It's a very silly dark cloud that shouldn't be there. It's probably one of these dark clouds that were put in there by somebody spraying in the air. It was these chemtrail clouds that shouldn't be happening. because you have a bit of blue on blue over here. You have some friendly fire. FEC Railway, the Florida East Coast Railway suing Brightline over commuter rail expansion plan. What? What's going on? What is this? Well, here we go. We'll talk about it here. Plans have been in the work for Miami-Dade Broward counties to run a version of Tri-Rail. FECR said that's going too far. It violates a contract between the two companies. This is why the Coastal Link hasn't been going on, because FEC saying, well, that's a little bit too many trains on that way. We had a contract and you shouldn't be doing that, so we're not going to be doing that. Which is a little silly, because that was kind of actually part of the contract that they will be running commuter trains. So why are they going back on that? Well, in its suit filed July 11th in Miami-Dade Circuit Court, Florida East Coast Railway notes that the many accidents that have occurred on its tracks involving Brightline, saying that adding more trains on line would heighten the risk of potential severe accidents. Is there some sort of conspiracy going on over here? Why is it all of a sudden that at the same time a big giant article from the Miami Herald comes out about 180 people about the death train, that now all of a sudden, within the same timeline, that this suit comes out talking about, wait, the many accidents. Is it the many accidents caused by Brightline? Is Brightline really going out of its way to go ahead off the rails and eat people or something like that? Is that what's happening? Oh, there we go. Look at this. A recent Miami Herald WLR investigation found that more than 180 people. We've talked about this. Okay, sorry about the 180 people, but guess what? Guess what? A hell of a lot more people die on the roads every day. Don't give me that crap. That's crap. Have died being hit by Brightline trains. Oh, yes, the Brightline trains went ahead and hit them, making the high-speed rail service the deadliest major passenger railroad in the U.S. Yeah, look at this fear-mongering. Yeah. The dispute signals a breakdown in friendly relations between Florida East Coast Railway, which is more than a century old, and Brightline, which began operating as private passenger train on FECR's tracks. Yeah, so there's two different companies, and the two sister companies. There's Florida East Coast Railroad, and there's Florida East Coast Industries. They're technically used to be the same company. One of them was spun off. FECI is what Brightline operates under, okay, which is all the ancillary support stuff between the Florida East Coast Railroad. That's what FECI is, okay? So why is this all happening? Why is this all happening? The cooperation and transparency between FECR and Brightline that made Brightline's passenger service a reality has unfortunately long disappeared, FECR said in its complaint. Desperate to salvage some of its investor funds, Brightline has covertly engaged in a years-long campaign to stave off its own financial problems by loading FECR's track with more passenger trains. Well, this has been talked about for the last decade, so why is it all of a sudden happening? Brightline denies the allegations in the complaint and argues FECR was contractually obligated, yes, to resolve the dispute in arbitration and should have not filed its lawsuit, which is absolutely, this is stupid. This is stupid that this whole entire thing is happening. And here we are, quote, excerpt from Brightline's motion to dismiss. I don't think it's going to be dismissed. It should be dismissed, but this is probably going to go into full-on court. FECR publicly sought to harm Brightline by making gratuitous factual allegations and knew not to be true and pursuing baseless causes of action, which can only be pursued, if at all, through binding arbitration. Brightline does not comment on ongoing litigation, but this claim is without merit, and we have filed a motion to dismiss and compel arbitration, which, if part of their articles that they went ahead and made a contract to go ahead and go into arbitration, that's what they should be doing. I don't know, and I don't know the exact full-on details. I have a bad feeling it's going to go into a full-on lawsuit, which shouldn't be, because it's just being pushed around. There's something fishy. There is something fishy over here, and we'll talk about that in the comments very soon. We will be talking about that. FECR seeks to judge's action to halt any agreements of further negotiations between the counties and Brightline, potentially scuttling more than 5 years of work on the part of local governments, which have secured and applied for millions of dollars in grants from the federal government to improve public transit in South Florida. FECR is arguing that Brightline doesn't have the unilateral authority to negotiate for the commuter rail, the commuter rail they're talking about, Tri-Rail, and that there isn't space or infrastructure to run more passenger cars on the tracks. That funding is dead in the water, as Brightline's representations are not only legally prohibited by its agreements with FECR, but also practically precluded by FECR's existing use of its tracks, FECR wrote in its complaint. Yeah. So this is an absolute this is ridiculous, and it's really something that shouldn't be happening right now. But it is. It's definitely something absolutely fishy. It stinks. I smell somebody wants to get out, or somebody wants to go ahead and cash out and crash out in such an absolutely terrible way that shouldn't be happening, and it's going to cause more damage than anything else. I'm sensing a little bit of let me see. It's where's my I'm sensing a little bit of the somebody somewhere wants to cash out, and they're getting a little bit too old. I wonder. That's my feeling. That's my feeling. They want to cash out, and they've pushed this. Somebody inside has pushed this. I think it's obvious. Rather than gratitude for the use of FEC corridor, dude, you're basically more or less the same company. You're sister companies. What the hell is going on? Brightline wants more and more trains and more profit. Yeah, I think they would want more profit. Why not? It's obtained Brightline colluded between FECR's back to dispossess FECR of its own property and load the railway tracks with passenger trains at a volume that the track cannot safely handle without significant investment that Brightline cannot afford. It really is silly. And again, the motion, the private rail companies called FECR's allegations frivolous. I agree, and argues the proper venue to settle the dispute is not the courthouse. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. This is nuts. But anyway, so as we are here in the American Rail Club, just completely different topic. We usually talk about the N-word, and the N-word being nuclear. So, in the infinite wisdom of the United States government, in all its infinite wisdom, it wants to prioritize building a nuclear reactor on the moon. On the moon. What? Bruh. What is this? Let me see. We have plenty of space to build nuclear reactors. We're going to have to probably need it with the way the electrical grid is failing nationwide. But you want to build it on the moon. This is what we're talking about. Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is also the interim NASA administrator. Cool. But priorities. Hello? Priorities. NASA discussed building a reactor on the lunar surface. At a definite timeline, they want spaceflight funds by 2026 and a 100 kilowatt nuclear reactor to launch by 2030. Okay. Yeah. That's not going to happen. There we go. Let's end that article there. Yeah, sure. Yeah, not going to happen. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Not going to happen. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Because we know exactly that, speaking of insanity, is expecting the U.S. government to actually build something within a short amount of time. Yeah, sure. You can barely, wait. Last thing I'll say about this. We can barely build nuclear reactors in our own country, let alone the amount of speaking of, not forget priorities, but the bureaucracy behind even getting the agreements to go ahead and build a nuclear reactor takes basically 10 to 15 years within this country. More or less. But you want to go ahead and build one on the flippin' moon by 2030. We can't even get a road fixed in this country. You want to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. We haven't even been back to the moon in how many decades? Yeah, priorities. Okay. Meanwhile, original Brazil is building high-speed rail. By original Brazil, we mean Portugal. The OG Brazil, Portuguese, the Brazilians. Work can finally begin on the first high-speed rail system in Portugal after the project received banking from the European Investment Bank. Just $1 billion. And they're going to start building. Wow. Talk about priorities. Having the priorities straight. Yeah, here we go. Set to begin construction as an inaugural high-speed rail line. There we are. Signing of a 30-year concession. Initial section runs 44 miles from Porto to Oaia. a town north of Coimbra, or about a quarter of the way towards Lisbon. Oh, wow. They're doing exactly what I said about doing for California, is starting at a large city and connecting to another large city, not in the middle of nowhere. Sorry for anybody who lives in the Central Valley, but you know how it is in the Central Valley. I mean, it's you saying that about the Central Valley, not me. That's kind of the ironic part. This is part of a larger 89-mile first phase connecting Porto to Suor. I'm probably butchering all this stuff because, sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. It is not the same as Spanish, so it's kind of different. Here we are. 480 million euros in grants from the EU's Connecting Europe facility. Yeah, so I guess the Europeans are actually doing something smart this time, apart from all the other. Speaking of a continent that's cooked, but for a whole bunch of other reasons than their infrastructure. Although what they're bringing into their country is probably not going to have the infrastructure lasting too long. All right, I have spoken enough. It's time to let people onto here. I move away to the mic to cough. That's an old meme there. All right, let's bring in everybody. Here we are. Everybody, come on in. If you have your hands up, you're playing the song. I'm not going to sing the rest of that. There we are.
You can hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. All right, everybody's on.
Whoa.
I'd like to make one point, if you may.
Sure.
All right, well, what?
As you mentioned earlier, it's the blood train and the bloodline. It's so damaging that we need to go on these highways. And let me just get my notes right here, because 180 plus deaths is terrible, but 284 deaths on I-95 for just the year of 2019 is not as bad, which averages about to 15 fatalities per 100 miles. Wait, let me check my notes again. Yep, that's right. So the single highway that the train follows is more deadly than the train? Huh.
Yeah.
Who could have guessed?
Go figure.
I'm a little confused a little bit here, ARC. Brightline and FEC are owned by the same company. How?
So they're technically, okay, so legally they are technically separate sister companies. So being somebody that has worked at FEC, FECI, FEC Industries. So they're a spin-off company from the Florida East Coast Railroad.
How's everybody doing? Can everybody hear me?
So, yeah, loud and clear. Yeah, so they're two separate companies. But yes, FECR owns the railroad and the freight line. FECI owns Brightline and the operation of Brightline. So they're technically, yes, they used to be the same company, but they're separate. They're separate legal entities, yes.
So we should do is put FECR and Brightline in an FECI courtroom. That's all it should be.
Yeah. So when they talk about arbitration, it means they're getting into a room and just talking this out, like grown adults, as they should be, not making this a public thing. Which is why I'm yeah.
You're expecting people to be grown adults in this day and age?
Yeah.
You're asking way too much, man.
You're not wrong on that. You're not wrong on that.
No, but yeah, this whole entire thing, it stinks to high heaven.
Here,
the time.
His contract.
Yeah, no, it's silly. Yeah, the whole thing stinks. There's definitely something a lot more going on between the lines over here. That's kind of something else we need to talk about as well, because again, the timing of the Miami Herald's articles on the death train, and then all of this. Come on, this is it's obvious. I think somebody within FECR wants to cash out as quickly as possible, and that's why they're now forcing this sort of stuff. Because this whole sort of thing just doesn't happen within a vacuum. This is obviously connected. This is obviously some sort of conspiracy. To what angle and to what end, I'm not exactly sure, but it's obviously something. The timing of it is way too coincidental. Again, pattern recognition takes you a long way. There's just too many patterns.
And the only way to solve that would be for them to get into a room and it's like, all right, Brightline, you're going to buy out the entire stake so you can ride on that railroad all you want. but that would be too much.
The problem is
The-
that
the-
the FEC won't let that happen.
And an easier way would be to quad track it and then just have freight go on a pair of tracks and the passenger trains go on the other set of tracks.
Yeah, which is why the whole thing is already double tracked.
So the trouble
At the very minimum, the whole entire
hang on.
rail.
The trouble you're gonna run into with quadrupling the line is going to be right of way. Do they have the right of way to do that? Like
It's
sometimes
possible
if
they
you have a
can get
busy-
it, but it would be expensive because normally they have the width of the track plus a little bit extra
Mhm.
for safety.
and they
sake,
have to
but-
have that little extra to fit the width of the cargo they're going to be hauling. If they don't have the right of way, the government will deny what the quadrupling of the track.
All right, hold on.
Just like how
David
you might
David
have
wants
a
to
very
say
busy
something over here.
4-lane road.
Yeah.
Like if you have a very busy 4-lane road and you think, what's quadrupling this road? Well, hang on. You have to look at the right of way. Do they have the room to make that happen, to make it all legal?
Yeah, very fair. All right, David. Yeah, we missed you last stream. Go ahead, man.
Sorry about in the last live stream. I fell asleep 20 minutes before your last live stream.
Oh man, next time put an alarm, man. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
But I got two things to talk about. One is something terrifying that we got to keep our eye out because if it does, let's just say we're going to lose our voice with the transit community if it get passed. You heard of the Screen Act? Let's
No.
just say, if y'all be keeping track of what happened in the United Kingdom with last couple of days, last week, I've been calling it out in the politics section and in the video section. I've been calling this out.
Is this a censorship bill that they've been that they passed through in the UK?
Yep, it's their censorship bill.
Yes, and we have one too now because everyone has to have one.
It's not good. Here, Jane, I always say this. They're Jane. It's know it ain't it a Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse, and we're not falling for it. Like, look what's going on in the United Kingdom right now. Like,
Well, they
people
want to
are
ban you. They just are looking for a valid excuse. And if they add censorship in, then they can fabricate whichever excuse they want to ban you.
And not
Yes,
just that,
1984 Government Instruction Manual.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, it's look, it's an obvious First Amendment violation, but look, it's happened here in the country. The Constitution doesn't unfortunately matter anymore, which is sad, but it's what it is.
That's the UK, though. The UK is falling apart in a lot of different other.
not just that, but Australia too. Australia and United Kingdom have finally fallen to tyranny.
Yeah, if you want to see where the United States is going to end up in 5 years, you kind of have to look at the UK sometimes,
I know.
and the rest of the Anglosphere.
Or look at
And here,
Or the
How are we looking at
European
finances?
Union. You can also look at the
And
EU.
I'm
Like
trying
they
to
passed a
switch-
bunch of laws already that, like remember Articles 11 and 13 of that one EU bill that would censor.
Oh yeah, Article 13. I remember that 5 to 6 years ago. I was warning about if this bill passed, something more dark is going to happen in a few years from that. No one took me serious. Now, who laughing now? I called it.
I mean, we did take you seriously, David, but I mean, there's nothing much that we can do about the EU, let alone our own communities here. I mean, at least here in my local community, we got Walmart kicked out at least somehow, and another giant whatever Microsoft data center being built here for what? So they can here's something you want to do. Speaking of all the censorship, they're going to use AI for all this sort of stuff. So if you kill the data centers, let me finish. If you kill the data centers, all the surveillance doesn't have as much power as it would without all these data centers. So yeah, if you want to stop all the censorship, kill the damn data centers. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know how many data centers are coming here? They're building many of them here. We've got Facebook, we got Facebook, we got Google.
Microsoft?
Yeah, and Microsoft, they're everywhere.
Hey, can I
gonna be everywhere.
Guy, can I speak? Y'all are interrupting me again.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that right now, YouTube about to hit the crap on the 13th. Have y'all heard what YouTube is doing on the 13th?
Yes, the whole age verification thing, yeah.
Like,
I don't know about this.
All right, so technically what YouTube, I'll just explain real quick. So YouTube is basically going to use AI to go through your video history to quote unquote figure out if you're over age to go ahead and let you go ahead and keep watching YouTube videos. If the AI deems that you, because of your search history and because of your watch history, probably if you're watching too many Minecraft videos, it's going to assume that you're under the age of 18, and it's going to ask you to age verification yourself, i.e. putting your ID to the screen and all that sort of stuff. Look, at least it's not the T app, where all your information is going to be out in the public within like that. But it's still, you're giving it to a big giant corporation to do what? Data mining.
Because if I get ID'd, if they're like, verify your ID, I don't want to reveal all my personal information yet. That's not exactly safe. Someone's gonna.
No, it's an absolute violation. Yeah, absolutely.
But they, how else are they supposed to sell to you and sell your information to advertisers?
To be honest,
no, what's gonna happen? It's gonna be like a Roblox 2.0, where they freaking get hacked and all your private info is public.
I'm saying we have our information. Why do we give it out?
Don Trucker, I'm trying to speak here, bud, but I'm saying that they're going to backfire on YouTube bad. Like, this is where YouTube is going to get in deep trouble. Like, it's up that it's going to put YouTube in the doghouse, because let me be honest on it. People are going to go to Congress and probably even sue YouTube over this, you know?
No, I agree. And you know what? My other half has also told me a whole bunch of times to maybe go on to Rumble and all that sort of stuff. So I will be talking about that. Maybe the next couple streams to be simulcasting onto X and Rumble as well. So that's definitely a possibility, because it seems that YouTube is, again, it's cooking itself over here. It's not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
R.I.P. YouTube.
It might actually be a thing that kills YouTube. You know?
I don't know. I've heard that. I've heard that a bunch. The only problem with YouTube is that it has a bunch of staying power. But let's see. I don't know. And at the very least, we are going to probably this. And I know this has been way off topic of what we were talking about. It's very closely related. I would say closely related, but kind of related as to. We're gonna start also simulcasting onto X, which I'll start with X first, and then we'll go on to Rumble. Odyssey was kind of an experiment that was, and there's still stuff on Odyssey, but I mean, it kind of shot itself in the foot by not taking advantage of the momentum it had, and it's kind of buggy. So sucks for Odyssey. I honestly wanted Odyssey to actually work, but oh well, that sucks. But it's gonna be Rumble and X.
But here, Jane, I'm hoping I'm wrong about it. Like, here, Jane, I'm hoping that it's wrong for YouTube, because, look, this is my primary platform that I video and do live streaming and stuff on. So I'm hoping I'm wrong about it, which hopefully it's not as bad as everybody think it is. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, technically it is on top.
Oh, just wait. It's all waiting game.
Yeah.
It all is a game, and we'll check out. But
the best thing you can do is prepare.
Yeah.
Get on alternatives while you still can.
Yeah.
If something happens, it won't be too long to re-establish.
Yeah, look, I think YouTube is special in a sort of way. I think there is some sort of justice. We all know where Susan is right now. So yeah, if you screw with the YouTube platform, that's the thing. I mean, YouTube basically started more or less everything we've done with the club, and that's why it's kind of special.
Practically,
yeah,
it's cursed infrastructure. It's what it is.
Oh yeah, but it's shooting itself in the foot, because it keeps thinking that it's way too big to fail. It keeps doing apart from making the careers of so many people, it's still getting to the point where it thinks it can run everything. mainly at the behest of its advertisers in trying to make quote unquote everything advertiser friendly, when in reality it's just trying to get more control over everybody. Less to do with advertisements and more to do with draconian control of what people are watching. That's really all it is. It wants to control the narrative. The people who control YouTube want to control the narrative. They're upset that people are starting to get into wrong thinking on YouTube.
Not just that, but let not forget what they're trying to do. Like when I said earlier about the Screen Act, the Online Screen Act, it's the same thing here in the U.S. It's going to backfire, that for sure, because people are not stupid here in the U.S. when it comes to stuff that will infringe our rights. Trust me.
Yeah, if the UK, I remember when the UK police chief officer was like, "It doesn't matter where you are, even if you're in the US, we'll come and arrest you." So, you come and arrest me in a foreign country?
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 shotguns in my basement. You will be running like a child.
Yeah, when the UK cops come to the average American person's home. Anyway, all right, guys. We got 14 minutes. Wait. 14 minutes left to talk about whatever the heck we also have to talk about here. Let's talk about trains.
Ability of Liberty, finally.
Liberty, I think.
Let me talk about this in my train article. Demetria, you
all
remember?
Right, let's stick. Everybody wants to stick to Ability of Liberty. All right, so let's stick to that one, David. We got your time in. Let's stick to that.
It's something crazy because I want to tell you real quick. You remember back in 2017 and 2016 when the anti-rail group were trying to stop all aboard Florida?
Okay, real quick. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
The same thing that happened up in Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. You remember a couple of months ago when I was talking about the Vermont rail system rebuilding the Mountain Division and reopening it?
You have, David.
Yep. Yeah, do you remember when I talked about that a few months ago?
Yeah, you did. You got it. We got it.
Well, I did send you a link to a Facebook group that is trying to stop it.
All right, we're going to talk about that next stream. But I think everybody here, look, this is a club. All in favor of talking about Acela now? Raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Aye. All right. Let's talk about this. This is some good news, guys. This is some good news. Yes, we're finally going to see the Available.
All right. Celebratory mic clicks.
There you are.
Wait, we have to wait 3 more weeks.
Unless you're an Amtrak employee.
Okay, at least it's 3 more weeks, not 2 more weeks. 2 more.
Yeah, if you're an Amtrak employee, they're actually doing what am I trying to say? A test ride. That's starting 2 days from now.
Nice.
The funny thing about that, 3 days after my birthday.
Okay.
There you go. That's a birthday gift for you, man. Happy birthday.
Okay.
So that technically 3 days after my 27th birthday. So that's funny. But yeah. But before we do end the live stream, I want you to look at the link I sent you.
That's gonna, and David, next stream, man. Next stream. We're just gonna talk about the articles that we have on here.
Yeah, next stream we can point and laugh.
Yes, point and laugh at the people that want to build a nuclear reactor on the moon.
Oh yes, the moon.
Really?
Yes.
It's not a bad idea. It's impractical.
The N-word. You know what the N-word is? It's no. It's the nuclear word. He mentioned the N-word yesterday.
I have a question. Why are we went to the moon once. Why do we want to turn the moon into some industrial facility?
Because the moon is made of Swiss cheese.
I can go on a 6-hour rant on that, but we don't have time right now.
I mean, it's just priorities. Look, I just see. Yeah, we're gonna build it by 2030. I just laugh. I'm like, okay, next. Yeah, that's not happening. 100 kilowatt, more like 100% not happening by 2030.
Yeah,
we
ready?
hardly build
it's 100% plausible. The only problem is
coming to you soon. A new industrial park on the moon. Get your plot now.
Wait. We're gonna have an abatement for Walmart distribution center on the moon.
Oh no!
The problem is 100%.
David,
It's
they're gonna
100%
make you work on the distribution center on the moon for Walmart.
Can I get my Amazon 2-day shipping up there?
Oh man.
Coming to you soon. The new Amazon drop from the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we could do like a 1-hour delivery service and just drop from the moon.
The Wellness Fulfillment Center up there.
The problem is it's 100% plausible. It's just they would have to have no delays between now and then.
Direct delivery.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It's David Gravity system up there.
Amazon direct delivery from the moon.
Yeah,
Well,
if we
technically,
can't
you
even
can
build
get a
a
mass
road
driver
here,
on the moon and launch stuff,
right?
so you can use
Yeah,
less rocket propellant. But
Yeah. Like you just said, we can't even fix a roadway over here, and you want to build a nuclear reactor on the moon? Which okay. What was the last time we were on the moon? What, 1980? Hold on. What was the last time?
Oh,
They're gonna make the moon fly away. The reactor's just gonna become a
73?
rocket.
Yeah, 73.
Yeah,
EX.
yeah, we had 21 different Apollo missions planned, and we only ended up using 17 of them.
Yeah, and then I know it stopped somewhere between. Okay.
We had 12 people walk on the moon.
Yep, 1972. The last U.S. crewed mission to land was Apollo 17, which shut down on December 11th, 1972. So yeah, we haven't been back to the moon in 50 years, more or less. But yeah, we want to go ahead and now build a nuclear reactor on the moon. Why? Because China and Russia are saying they're going to do the same thing, which they probably will. China may get probably up to the moon way before we do.
Also,
just again, going to patterns, they can build high-speed rail. China has first-world infrastructure. They can build roads. They can build high-speed rail. They can build factories. They can build all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, they may probably will get to the moon before we do in this century, which is kind of silly.
Well, recently, like a year or two ago, India sent a probe to the moon, and they became like the 6th country to do so. And so they're not too far behind.
Yeah, I still think that I kind of laugh every time I see the video from the Indian moon landing because it looks like a 2001 like DOS game that you get like on sale at a Marshall's. It's something look really off with that. I mean,
Yeah,
even
but
if they did do
it
it
for like $60 million US, which is really tight on a budget.
yeah. I mean, it's still it's ridiculous. We should have already been. We should have been had a base on the moon at this rate. We're talking about nuclear
We could
reactor.
have had a base on the moon by 1980 if we really wanted to.
Oh yeah,
but we went from like 4% of the U.S. GDP during the Apollo missions at its height to now less than 1/4%.
Yeah,
and they're still cutting the budget every now and
There's
then.
there's an old saying, or at least a saying, I remember hearing in a show. If you can think of it, we've probably already done it.
Being that,
I think that's true to a sense. There's probably a lot. I do think we have access to a lot more technology than what they're letting on. I mean, this sort of stuff, weather manipulation, HARP, and other sort of, let's say, direct energy weapons and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that all exists to the point that we can even, again, priorities. Can we get back to the moon? We should be able to, but we're not. So, again, even if we have access to all this sort of stuff, hypersonic missiles, direct energy weapons, and all this sort of stuff, it's not being used correctly. It obviously is.
I mean, what's the old
I think maybe we might have a base on the moon.
Yeah,
maybe there is a base on the moon, but it's not American. Maybe what's his face escaped in 1945, and there's a base on the moon, but we don't.
We're not able to go back to the moon, but we can follow the Pelosi tracker, so we know what's the best stock purchases are.
Right.
Yeah. 2025. We're not back on the moon, but we can follow Nancy Pelosi stock picks.
We could do like the Mr. Beast style and just buy properties on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had nothing to work.
Bridgeport project, the bridge on the North Sea corridor.
Wait, the Poly Bridge?
Yep, they will be done in 2026.
Just a few months.
Congrats. We're going to be done next year.
There you go. Let's see. Maybe they'll be done before D.R. Horton goes to the moon. They're going to start building the Luna View now at the moon.
Oh, that's a
Built by D.R. Horton.
D.R. Horton, it's good, dude. You do realize how cheap it's going to be. It's just going to be like a house with wood. And...
You're going to sneeze and you're going to fall right. You're going to go right through the wall. You're going to go flying right off the moon. Just built like, and you're just going to like the last thing you're going to see is just like the fading sign of like new houses built by D.R. Horton as you just like run out of oxygen and fly off the moon.
And you look over in the corner just before you die, and you're
hey, ARC, if you do it right, you'll sneeze right back to Earth.
Oh man!
But as you're flying in space, about to take your last breath and hit the moon again, you can look off in the corner. It's like, oh, that's where the Hilton was being built.
Oh look!
Hey, you gotta get that lunar tourism going.
Yes, but one thing, it's still cheaper to build on the moon than it is to build in California.
Okay, neighbors. Hey, do you got that fishing net or that fishing rod to come fish me back?
I don't think we're relying long enough.
Hey,
dump truck is going fishing.
I'll try. I don't think I have a license though.
Let's put it this way. We didn't hear that you had or did not have a license. We do not know of any sort of existence of or non-existence of a license. We didn't hear anything.
I'm right home now.
All we want to know is what you caught. That's all. That's all.
I'm fishing some big fish today, boys.
All right, guys. 4 more minutes. What else do we want to talk about?
I'm looking through the YouTube chat, and the one of the questions was asked, what did you have for dinner, Darius, by Gustavo.
Yeah, Darius, what did you have for dinner?
Look at the typed in the live chat.
Tourism on the moon, shake my head. Yeah. David Jackson did also say, Grupo Mexico owns FEC now. Yeah, they bought FEC. I think it was back in 2017 or 2018. I think they bought full stake or majority stake at FEC, and then Fortress Investment Groups owns Brightline. Yes, that's absolutely correct. So yes, they are sister companies, but 2 separate companies, 2 separate owners, 2 separate entities, legal entities. Yes, which is again, it makes this whole entire thing stupid. This should be absolutely stopped.
Yeah, and to answer Ricardo Noel's question on tourism on the moon, it's going to happen. The only problem is once you break down the numbers, it's going to be ridiculously expensive for at least the first decade or 2.
Oh, more than just that. You have to not be motion sick.
Not really. You're talking about 1/6 Earth's gravity with negligible atmosphere.
Motion sick, as in if that thing starts spinning upside down and you're going upside down, you might wall in space.
There you go.
Okay, that's a problem.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there can be bottles of like empty Modelo bottles all over the moon. That's all we need now.
Hey Demetrius, look at the photo. Look at the photo I just sent. It's funny. It is sticker.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Let's see this.
You gotta show the YouTube side. It's only fair.
I wonder if they're gonna put a landfill on the moon too.
Oh man, this country, man. I mean, this is just. I mean, it would be it would be cool if we could be able to do this, but that's the sad thing is that we know it's not going to happen. We look at this and we just automatically just spit out laughing, knowing that there is absolutely no way that they can practically do this by 2030. It's not happening. We can't even build California high-speed rail. Again, this whole thing, Bakersfield to Merced. Look, if you look at the whole topography of California, there's a whole valley over here. That's the easiest thing you can do. But you're gonna go away. You're gonna fly to the moon, fly all the materials over there, and somehow build a nuclear reactor and bring in all the personnel to go ahead and run it.
Flying the materials to the moon. Fly me to the moon.
No, it's absolute. It's lunacy.
What else you got, Brandon? You got to
Lunacy.
bring everything up there. Nothing's gonna be built if you don't bring it in there.
Look at the live chat. Look at the
Has
live
any,
chat.
I made a joke, lunacy, but anyway. All right, I'm looking at the live chat. Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your picture, and the foreman's not looking over the guy's shoulder while he's digging. So the foreman's not doing his job.
Hey, there's no OSHA on the moon, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I've seen that meme. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, it's 9:30. Last things you want to say before we put this train to the station?
I do have one last thing, and I sent a screenshot of it. Like it real quick, and I was trying to explain it earlier because it was real quick, and it only going to take 1 minute. Is that what I was trying to tell you earlier? Back, you remember when the anti-rail group tried to stop Brightline in Florida?
Yeah.
Well, the trucking companies are freaking out up in Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. So they decided, oh, no one's going to notice this. They created an anti-rail group called Trails Not Rails.
Let's talk about that next stream, because this looks like something that's going to be. Not only will it be hilarious to look at this, but I mean this is just ridiculous. Yeah, definitely let's look at that. All right, guys.
We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, next stream. All right. I think that's.
Remember, we have to point and laugh at them.
Yes, we are. We are definitely going to be pointing and laughing at them. That's going to be the things. All righty, guys.
Bring
All
out the
right.
baseball bats. We're gonna go up there. We're gonna find them. We're gonna make them like it.
All right. Okay, guys, this has been fun. This is a good stream, definitely. All right. Thank you all for joining on board of the American Rail Club. We hope you enjoyed this stream. This train is now at the station. Thank you all for joining on board, and we will see you all next time. Take care and Godspeed.
We like to try.
Bye.
Don't make it bedtime.